Welcome to the Monday Night Fanzone show here every Monday, 7:30 till 8. My name's Phil. Welcome to the show. If you're joining us live, we've got a manager. Yes, we finally got a manager. It only took 3 weeks. We got there. Are you happy? I think most fans seem happy, but I want to know your views, your comments. You know, the next 30 minutes is just me and you talking about all these things. So if you want to get your views in, get your comments in every Monday. Just me, just you. 30 minutes of it. We'll see you now. Get ready.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.
So good evening there. Yes, welcome to the Fanzone show. My name's Phil. Every Monday night, 7:30 till 8. It's normally just me, just you. We'll chat. We get your comments up on screen. Good evening, Philip Upton. How are you? What do you reckon? New manager, Philip. Are you pleased about that? Nick Moore? Good evening. Get your comments in. Richie's watching. Auntie Karen's watching. Richie says, I'm happy that Enzo Maresca is the manager at Leicester City. Good appointment. Do you agree with Richie? Get your views in, get your comments in. I think generally most fans seem more than pleased. I am going to be honest, I'm a little amazed at how excited some fans are getting over this appointment. Fingers crossed, I'm in there. Obviously, we're going to be back here and we're going to be excited about him. Jeff Stockley says, good evening. Rudy, watching out there, so hope you, Rudy, says, happy with a new sense of direction by appointing Maresca. Good. I think we're with you, Rudy. I think most fans are with Rudy there. Callum says the championship, it's going to be all right. He's watching over there on TikTok. Mick, good evening. Mick Paget, hope you're well. What do you reckon? Carlos, hope you're well. Lots of people getting the views in. Andy says, excited. Andy, you're excited. Andy Medhurst. Just need to buy some players now. Get in there. Craig says here, I'm happy with the new manager. Andy is watching. John Thornton's watching. Good evening to you. Thomas Goat says, I support Coventry. I hope you go up. Thanks for that one, mate, in there. That teach me to not read the comments before I just blurt them out. Lewis says, Rodgers has gone to Celtic. Listen, Brendan Rodgers, he's not what we're going to talk about tonight. Trust me, we've got too much to talk about. Richard Wyatt says it's a great appointment. Now, Richard, listen, I'm just going to be real. This is my chance. You know, the great thing and the bad thing about Leicester Fan TV is these videos, they're there if you want to check back, because you can always hold us to account and say, on June the 19th, what did Phil say about the new manager? Let me go. This would be like in 6 months' time. You can go back and you can say, what was that idiot talking about back then? And I will say, this is my honest opinion, is I am excited about him. I am pleased that we've got a new manager finally. But, and there is a but, and I know there'll be a few of you out there, is my honest but is, but he's not really proven as a manager. And you have to be honest about that. You can say, oh, I'm excited, because I am excited about him. I am looking forward to him. I hope he brings some of this Man City magic with him. I am excited, but he hasn't proven it at all as a manager. So for me, it is a gamble. And when you watch this video back in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, you can at least see me be honest. And from my view is, it is a bit of a gamble because he hasn't managed a club properly. He did 14 games at Parma, but I think it is a slight gamble by the club. Maybe that's great. Maybe that's what we needed. Maybe we needed a fresh start. No baggage, no nothing. Clear direction. We're going that way, and we're going to follow this dream in there. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. Do you agree with me? I do think it is a gamble, and I'm going to say that because after 20 games next season, if it's not working, and there's a lot of fans going as though it's the new Messiah for Leicester City, there will be some fans who start to go, well, maybe we should have got a manager with a proven track record in there. Mark says it is a gamble and hopefully it works out like this. I am with Mark. I'm 100% going to back him, but I absolutely want it to be on this record that I think it is a big gamble by the club. And I think it's an interesting one because there was managers out there with proven track records, proven championship track records, proven as a manager, You know, it's a big step up to be assistant coach to go to manager club. Boohoo Record says, hi, Phil. Brilliant, refreshing appointment. I agree. It is a bit refreshing. Just what we need, someone new. So tired of all the journalists and pundits making us buy into their friends and the same old British managers in there, which would be interesting. Mick says we'll need to keep hold of the players we have. Mick, we ain't keeping hold of many, let's be honest. Every time you look, it was then Diddy going to Saudi Arabia at about 4 o'clock today. So there's all sorts of things in there. Mick is still blaming Claude Puel, aren't we all, for whatever happens in there. Craig says, any news on backroom staff? Well, no is the honest answer, Craig. But I do wonder if this was some of the decision, because a lot of the Leicester backroom staff, Mike Stowell, etc., have been there a long time. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're still there. Whether that'll be good or bad, whether we need a complete fresh sweep. But you've got to remember, this guy's stepping up from being an assistant coach. So he doesn't come with a backroom staff, which might be partly why we've got him. I'm not sure about that. Andy's asking any news on assistants. I don't think it's been confirmed yet. James says, Enzo has already nailed it, that the mentality has to change and Seagrave ain't a holiday park. Top needs to back him. Thanks, James. I think most fans have been saying that, to be fair, for the past 6 months in there. Alfie on TikTok says, who are we signing soon? Big clear out needed first, Alfie, if you ask me. James Maddison to Newcastle, says Dale in the UK. Will he go to Newcastle? Will he go to Spurs? I think he's going to go. I think we all think he's going to go. For me, like I said last week, if Maddison's going to go, let's get a decent amount for him, but let's get it sold quickly and let's get money in there. Stephen Phillips, watching on YouTube, says hopefully appointing Maresca points to a bit more joined up thinking from the entire club rather than reactionary jumping. Stephen, I think we all hope you're right, because like I keep saying, for me, I'm only being honest. If you think I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, let me know, but I'm just being honest. I think it is a gamble, and I think if it was me in charge, which I'm not, clearly, I think I'd have played it a bit safer and I'd have gone for a manager with a proven track record. That's me. There, I said it. June the 19th, Phil says he would have gone for somebody different. But you have to listen to all the words. I am fully backing this new manager, and I think it is a breath of fresh air. Andy says here, Burnley took a gamble on Vincent Kompany. Andy, I think, and again, I'm no stats guy, Andy. My honest is, I think Vincent Kompany had done 2 years manager at Anderlecht. So that is the difference. And that's where fans, I think if somebody wants to fact check me quickly and go off, I think Vincent Kompany ended up as a player manager at Anderlecht and then had at least 1, maybe 2 seasons as a manager at Anderlecht. Am I wrong? Am I talking the normal shizzle that I do talk? But that is the honest difference, Andy, is that Burnley, I believe, Vincent Kompany had got managerial experience. This guy's done 14 games at Parma. There were some issues there, and he won 4 games. Ryan says it's a gamble, but what have we got to lose? Well, Ryan, I hear you that. What we've got to lose is getting back into the Premier League as quickly as possible. That's why it's a gamble. We're not at the bottom of the table or anything like that. We're not 6 games to go at the bottom of the Premier League like we were, and we didn't sack a manager or whatever. Welcome, Enzo. Listen, I'm all for this. I'm backing him 100%. Bring us back up, says Ivan in there. Michael, watching out there in Seattle. Thank you, Michael. Maybe it was our only option, managers rejecting our offers. Again, Michael could be right. We don't know what has gone on in the back rooms. We don't know which managers have been in, perhaps been offered it, turned it down. We don't know any of it, but it's going to be an interesting one. Craig says in here, to be honest, any new manager is a gamble, especially in our position. I would agree with you in there. Please keep getting your comments in. Wherever you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, we'll try and get as many on there as possible. Puel had better signings than Rodgers, says Timswin on TikTok. He says here, Telemans, Maddison, Pereira, Maguire, Sion, Chu in there. John says, hope you're not doing a reading. Listen, John, I know what you mean. I'm not doing a reading. I'm just my honest is I'm slightly surprised how many fans are like, yes, this is the guy out of heaven. I don't know if it's because he's the photos you see of him is in a Man City shirt and he looks a bit like Pep. I hope it is. It is a big fingers crossed. John, honestly, I think it is a gamble. So I think that's all Reedy's saying. I think Reedy was just saying, look, there was a manager out there who got 2 different clubs promoted to the Championship, that was probably the safer bet. But fair play to the owners because they've gone for the risk. It is a riskier bet. Keith saying, like a gamble, Scott Parker would have been like bringing back Mad Dog. God, can you imagine Martin Allen coming back to the club in there? Enzo used to be a player himself. He certainly did. I get that in there. New Start says Dawn. New Start, we need to back him and get the King power rocking again. I hope so. Indeed, I agree with you, Dawn. 100% backing him from my point of view. Really looking forward to this. And I think it will be hopefully a fresh broom because he doesn't come with any baggage. He doesn't come from previous track records because he really hasn't got one. So it is a fresh start. And it's a great opportunity for him because of his credentials at Man City. If he does well at Leicester, he could be on a rocket trajectory. Hopefully, he'll take us with him on that in there. Matt Trasler says, for me, this is a great signing. It's fresh, it's new, and we don't know what's going to happen. But with this fresh perspective, it's like our new chapter starts now. And I think that's what many, many fans are buying into with what has gone on with this manager in there. Lewis Cato. Lewis, I would agree with what you say there. If we're 15th after 10 games, there will be a meltdown. There will be, and there will be. But listen, let's just hope after 10 games gone, we're top of the table and cruising in, doing well. That is what we want. Peter McIntosh, hope you're well. Peter says we needed a coach, not a manager, so Enzo is a good choice. I think that's interesting, Peter. Maybe I'm old school. I still like the fact that there's a manager in there doing it, but I know the way modern day football is, the signings aren't necessarily made by the manager at all in there. So it's in there. Andrew says it all about Rodgers when he wants to take Daniel Amartic to Celtic. I've not heard that one yet. Listen, I'm not interested in Celtic at all, and I'm not really interested in Brendan Rodgers anymore. Fee says, but Parker didn't want to come to us. Fee, you might be right. Again, I'm not sure we know the full ins and outs of what happened. I've heard a rumour, and it is a rumour, that Parker was only offered a year's contract and wanted more. But that is just purely a rumour. Who knows? Keith Cook says, good appointment, new direction, but any new manager is a gamble in there. So that's interesting. Keep your comments coming, get in. On TikTok, Cathal says, without a biased opinion, do you think if you don't get out this year, will you struggle to get out? I think it is going to be a first season is the season to come back. That's my honest opinion in there. I think we need to get the first season as quick as possible in there. Glenn on YouTube says, it is a gamble, as not only has he not been a manager, but how much does he know of the Championship? And it's a beast of a division. Glenn, this is honestly, that's why I say I don't mind you lot. I'm just being honest. It's my opinion. I feel it is a gamble. I'll back the club. I'll back the manager. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. It is a fresh thing, but it is a gamble because he hasn't managed in the Championship. He hasn't ever managed. So fingers crossed, it comes good. But for me, it is a gamble. That's all I want to say here. And you can watch this back in 6 months. And trust me, in 6 months' time at Christmas, if we're top of the Championship, you can come back. You can say, June the 19th, Phil, do you remember you said it was a gamble? Well, the gamble's paid off. And I'll go, great. I want the gamble to pay off. Liam says it is a gamble by the club. How well does he even know the league? Personally, I'm worried. We'll back him until he proves otherwise. Well, I want to back him all the way, but I just feel, Ross says in here, new blood, new era in the life of Leicester City. Hashtag Enzo era. Let's hope so in there. Reedy's feeling upset. He says, no one told you to be negative. Apparently, when I say the exact same things, I'm being called negative. I think, Reedy, listen, like I said to you today, Reedy, I agree with most of what you're saying in there, to be fair, because I think it is one of those decisions, but we don't know what's gone on in the background. We don't know why certain managers we thought might have been in there haven't come. So it will be interesting. But I like I say, for me, it's a gamble. I hope it pays off, and that's what it will be. Rye says, looking forward to my away day to the King Power and your visit to Home Park. Yes, Rye, down there. I know you're down there in Plymouth. He's a Leicester fan and a Plymouth fan. And Right, we will be coming down to Plymouth. I can't wait for it. The fixtures come out on Thursday. Is it this Thursday? I'm just checking the dates. Yeah, I think it is this Thursday. They come out 9 o'clock. We're doing a live as they come out. I am looking forward to. I'm hoping Plymouth is in the summer because I tell you what, it's a beautiful place, and I want to get there while the sun is out. And come and have a pint on the harbour. Joanna says, just hope we get promoted after season 1, else we could get comfortable and stay here for 5 years. Let's hope it's not going to be Joanna. You speak of experience, young lady. You know what it can be like in the Championship. We don't want to get stuck there too long. Michael says it's going to be a struggle regardless. We're losing too many players. We know how recent transfer windows are with the club. It's going to take some magic. Michael, honestly, that's why I think if we're going to get rid of players, let's get rid now. It feels like, are we letting Johnny Evans go, by the way? Well done to him. I think he got an MBE the other day. But is Johnny Evans going? Because there was talks of contract renewal, and now it looks like he's on the released section. What do you think in there? Andy does make a point here. This is what I think a lot of Leicester fans are hoping and expecting. Andy Moss says here, he's watching on YouTube. Andy says, Man City are going to be a feeder club to get some young lads on loan. Do you know what, Andy? I think that's what a lot of Leicester fans are expecting is going to happen. You would think it would do. Doesn't necessarily mean it will, but I think there would be some logic there. Obviously, we've got a fantastic training ground. Man City will know the assistant coach is going to coach them the right way. It makes a lot of sense that is what's going to happen. And to be fair, the way the finances are, we could probably do it in there. Richard says, like Pearson in 2008, Enzo wants to change the mentality of the squad. And by the way, he was talking, he will let players who don't want to play in the Championship can go. I think so, Richard. It is a reset. We've all said it was a reset. You got to remember, Brendan Rodgers did say in February 2022, after the Forest defeat, we needed a complete rebuild. So Rodgers has said it, so it shouldn't catch us out that that's what's going to happen. 19, Phil Upton says here, 19 ex-Premier teams fighting for top 3, going to be tough. Philip, that is a great stat. I didn't know that. Is that right, Philip? It's a 19 teams in the Championship who've all at some point played in the Premier League. Ooh, it's going to be tough. Listen, Leicester fans thinking we're going to walk it. We've just signed the Messiah who's going to manage us. It's going to be, for me, I think we need a reset all round, and we need to make sure we would be in there. Andy says, how about Mares and Foden on loan would be nice. Riyad Mahrez, most skillful ever player to wear a Leicester shirt, in my views. Start the debate now in there. Amel says Claudio was a gamble, to be honest, to be fair. To an extent, was Claudio Ranieri a gamble? Again, you'll have to forgive me, Amel, but if we go back to that point in his career, I think he had won multiple. I think he'd won Premier League. He'd won a lot of cups and titles in his career, Claudio Ranieri, when he came to Leicester City. I'm not going to say it was a gamble. It was a bit left field at times, and obviously Gary Lineker famously raised his eyebrows at Claudio Ranieri, but he had managed a lot of football clubs and a lot of games. So I think don't think Claudio was quite the gamble that we've just done it in there. Also, another reason it is a bit of a gamble, if you ask me, we need to come back first season. We really do, financially. We will not want to be down in this league for 2 years. And I've seen some people say to me, would you really want Scott Parker? Yes. And then people say, Scott Parker, yeah, he'll get you promoted, but then it might be dull and you'd be in the Premier League and you'd probably sack him. I am a bit like, I don't care what the football's like next year. There's 2 things I want to see next year. Number 1 is promotion at all costs, at whatever. That's my opinion. You might disagree. You might say your number 1 thing is I want to see skill. I want to see flair. I want to see goals. Put it in the comments. What is the one thing, the number 1 thing, the one thing, if you could only pick one thing, I've said one thing 1,000 times now, what is the number 1 and only one thing you want to see happen next year? Because again, check this video back in the future. My only one thing is promotion back to the Premier League. I've watched far too many years in the Championship over my Leicester City life. I want to get back in that Premier League because I want to see the best players at Leicester. I want to see Leicester having another go in the Premier League. That's my number 1. Put in the comments, what is your number 1 thing? because that is my number one thing. So all this reset players, you see, Rudy says winning in there, but number two would be exactly what Andy said: passion. Passion, and as Amal says, team spirit. That would be my number two thing. Is one is promotion, number two is team spirit and passion. I would agree with you on that. That would be the two things. Ian says his number one thing is passion. That's what Ian wants to see. So Ian, I'm going to spin it round, because if number one is passion, I'd take it, Ian, and I'm only trying to see where you go with this, and everybody else who said passion and team spirit is number one, because that's my number two. If team spirit and passion is your number one, and I say to you, we have a great season, the fight is there, the lads on the pitch give it all, we lose in a playoff final and we don't get promoted, you're okay with that, Ian, and everybody else? Or passion, fight, battle, we finish fourth, we don't make the playoff final, whatever, you'd take that, would you? Because Aaron says it's promotion, obviously, in there. Adele says it's promotion. Gareth says passion. Andy Meadows says he wants to see Phil buy a pint. Andy, next season, King Power, you can find me. I'll buy you a pint. How about that, Andy? There you go. Everybody heard it. I'll buy you 1 pint. You can buy me one back as well after that, though. Craig says it in. Managers in, so let's move on. I'm more worried about the recruitment now. That's next week's topic, Craig. Next week's topic is where are the signings? He goes on to say, hopefully it's earlier, not too late as usual. We always seem to drag our heels on transfers. I have heard, Craig, that the new manager, Enzo Maresca, isn't starting till like July the 2nd or 3rd. That's only what I'm hearing. Again, it's rumour in there. So it will be, next week's topic. Where's the thing? Michael says, I want to see goals and I want to see some consistency. Would be my first year supporting Leicester in the Championship. So Michael would rather have consistency and goals than promotion. I'm not saying he's wrong. That's what Michael wants. This is what Leicester Fan TV is. We all have a debate without falling out. Please don't fall out with me. Unless you want to. Come and have a go. But no, don't really. LCFC, Richie says, LCFC to get promoted. That's my number one. And I would have took that at all costs. I would have took a dull season of football. 1-0 to the Leicester. 1-0 to the Leicester. Every game. I'd have took that. Boring football and gone back up. I really would have done in there. Anthony says Jamie Vardy 20 goals plus. That's his one thing. Keith says one thing: hit the bar, win a car. Why don't they do that anymore? We used to love that. Hit the bar, win a car. The crossbar challenge. I think they used to do it sometimes. I don't think you ever used to win a car though at Leicester. I think it was hit the bar and win like 50 quid. But they used to let them take it from somewhere between the penalty spot on the halfway line. It was not very easy. John Thornton says winning games with style is his number one thing. Steve Gibson says 11 hungry players. Dave saying passion. I do like this. Don't get me wrong. I want passion. I want to see hunger, because we all know that's what's gone. And if you've got hunger and passion, then good things will come in there. B79 on YouTube says players fighting again. Number one for me. Won't get anywhere without that in there. Chris Wood, ex-Leicester striker, very good, Chris, says passion makes points, points mean prizes in there. But Mark says in there, see, this is my thing. The reality is I love all the passion, I love all the let's score goals, but it is number one for me is promotion. Promotion first time. That's all it is in there. Reedy says here, go up first time. That's his thing in there. Rob Lambert says, watching on Facebook, says, as long as we don't just build a yo-yo team that isn't good enough to stay in the Premier League, I'll be happy. I want to see us build for the future. But Rob, I would say, that's what we've just done. It took us 9 years to yo-yo back down, but we have just yo-yoed, haven't we? I mean, I've seen us do it, I don't know, 7 or 8 times in my 40-something years of watching Leicester. We have just yo-yoed back down. It just took a little bit longer, but that 9 years we've just done the Premier League, that was the yo-yo again, wasn't it? So I don't know if you call yo-yo like every other season, every 3 years. I think 9 years is still a yo-yo. I was hoping we were going to establish ourselves as a Premier League side for 20, maybe 30 years with winning the Premier League, being in Champions League, European semi-finals, winning the FA Cup. I honestly thought we had that that was enough there to make sure that we got finances, training ground, club expansion. It's like if you're playing FIFA Championship Builder Football Club, whatever the game is where you do it. I thought we got enough in that 9 years where really that it should have been, that's the foundation for 20 years, maybe 30 years. So for me, 9 years and doing that was yo-yo. You can disagree with me, but I honestly think yo-yo. Richard says Wyatt. Richard doesn't say. Richard Wyatt on Facebook says, I'd take second place right now. Yes, I would as well. Definitely. I prefer first or a guaranteed championship playoff final win. I don't want a final loss. Andreas says number one is promotion. I agree, Andreas. Honestly, that is the number one. Flynn says here, would you rather Maddison ends up at Newcastle or Spurs and beat the Mackhams? Flynn, I don't mind. But if Maddison's going to go, this is my honest opinion, which I think he will. If Maddison's going to go, let's get a reasonable amount of money for him. But this is not the year to hold out till August the 29th and then cash in and take money and not buy a player, because we did that with Fofana and it absolutely messed us up. Leicester City, learn from your mistakes, please. That's my honest thing there in there. Ian says here, Ian Moss says, are they still going ahead with the ground extension? Ian, not surprisingly, it's gone very quiet on that front. I've heard rumours that they are going to press on with it and next season will be a good season to do it while we're in the Championship. I've heard people quite honestly say it's going to be on hold for a little bit as well. Ross says in here, want to see Leicester beat Rotherham on Wednesday. It means a lot to me. Ross, is that your number one thing? Good old Ross. My number one thing is that we beat Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday, because he lives up there and he'll get a lot of grief if we don't. John Tower says, relegation obviously wasn't the plan and silly thing to say. I still think we have moved on from a yo-yo club. I think that is silly to say that, John, because we've just yo-yoed down. We've just done it. It took 9 years. It was a slower yo-yo than often, but we've come up. And listen, my honesty is we nearly went down almost straight after winning the Premier League. So we nearly went down the Great Escape year. So, you know, we've had a few good ones, but we've had a few bobbles as well. So I thought the last few seasons, we'd obviously the 5th, 8th, I honestly thought that we were over the yo-yo side, but clearly not, because we've just done it. We've just yo-yoed, John. You can't say we haven't gone down, because we have. Locke says stick the stadium expansion up where the sun don't shine. Save the money for building a team to take us up there. Do you agree with Locke there? It's probably a debate for another day. Do you agree with Locke's? Would you just stop the stadium expansion? Again, that would be a gamble either way, isn't it? They've got plans. Perhaps it's time to just press on. Richard says Maddison will go as he wants to play for England and we don't want to do another Tielemans. Exactly. And that's why we should sell him. If he wants to go, which clearly does, clearly won't want to play in the Championship, I don't think. You know, he's playing in the England side. I think him and Barnes, if they want to go, Castagna, if the players want to go, this is the time to let them go. But at least we've got a new manager in now. Just a couple might stick around and say, do you know what? I want to see this get through. Jono, I'm not having a go. Jono's just said, yeah, fair point. We just have gone down. It's like that is the yo-yo thing. When teams come up and then come back down, we are a yo-yo club. There's no way around it. We are there. You know, there's a lot of yo-yo clubs around over the years. Fulham, Norwich, Watford. You know, there's so many. Who, like I say, Forest are a yo-yo team. Derby are yo-yo. You know, Derby County will be back in the Premier League in my eyes within 5 to 10 years. Nottingham Forest will be out of the Premier League in that next 5 to 10 years. Leicester City will be back up in the Premier League in the next 5 to 10 years. We are those clubs that go up. I think if I've seen a league table over all of history, I think Leicester City is about 23rd or 24th in all the teams over history. So we don't even make the top 20 over history. So anyway, tonight really is about saying we will all be back in the new manager. So welcome to Leicester City. Pray, fingers crossed, everything is crossed that it works out, because like I said at the start, for me, it is a wee bit of a gamble because he hasn't got the managerial experience. He hasn't played or managed in the Championship. As many of you will know, and some of you might not know, because some of the people watching this may have only just watched us in the Premier League because they're young, or that's when they've started following Leicester. But the Championship is tough. It's a lot of teams in there, and it's going to be tough. I really hope we do it, and let's get in there. Andy can have the last comment tonight. Andy Moss, watching on YouTube, says, well, let's just bloody hope we bungee jump straight back up. Andy, we're going to do it. I'm really, really hopeful, and we are all backing Enzo Maresca here at Leicester Fan TV, as I'm sure all you guys will be. Let's just hope it is that great, great season. Because you know me, you know Leicester. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, but we'll keep back. We're on a down, but we're going to come back up. We'll back them. Listen, thanks everybody for all your views and all your comments. We can't do it without you. Lots more shows this week coming up. I think Locks is going live tomorrow night. And of course, whenever there's some transfer news in or out, we'll be going live on Leicester Fan TV. And then the famous Aftermath show is back on Sunday morning. So from me, Phil, can't do it without your views, your comments. Thanks so much for watching. Join us every night, every time. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV. I'll see you very, very soon. Come on, Leicester.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.